Self-confidence isn't something you're born with. It's not some magical quality that only certain lucky people have. Self-confidence is a skill. And like any skill, you build it by practicing it every single day. The problem is, most of us wait. We wait to feel confident before we take action. We wait until we feel ready. We wait until we feel like we belong, or we're good enough, or we know enough. And that wait, it's killing your potential. Because the truth is, confidence doesn't come first. Action does. Think about it. Every single time you've done something new, you didn't feel confident before you did it. You built confidence after. When you first learned to ride a bike, you didn't sit there thinking, I'm so confident I can ride. No, you were shaking, nervous, and doubting yourself. But you got on that bike, you wobbled, you fell. And then you tried again. That process, that willingness to take action before you felt confident, that's where confidence is born. We've been conditioned to believe that confidence is about how we feel, but it's not. Confidence is about what you do. It's the willingness to show up even when you're scared. It's the decision to try, even when your mind is screaming at you with self-doubt. It's the ability to stand there, uncomfortable, uncertain, and take the next step anyway. Here's the truth that no one talks about. Your brain is designed to protect you, not to make you confident. It will always whisper, don't do it. You'll embarrass yourself. You're not ready. You're not good enough. And the longer you listen, the stronger that voice becomes. So how do you beat it? You beat it with action. You beat it by doing the very thing your brain is telling you not to do. Confidence is built in the moments when you decide to push yourself out of your comfort zone. It's built when you speak up in that meeting, even though your voice shakes. It's built when you raise your hand, even though you're terrified of being wrong. It's built when you look in the mirror and stop tearing yourself apart and instead decide to believe, just for today, that you're worthy of taking up space. You don't need the whole plan. You don't need to feel fearless. You just need to start. And here's the trick: the more you take action, the more evidence you collect that you can trust yourself. Confidence is nothing more than the ability to trust yourself to figure it out. To know that no matter what happens, you'll handle it. So stop waiting. Stop waiting for the day you wake up and magically feel confident. That day is never coming. Instead, decide. Decide to take one small action. Decide to stop doubting yourself and start building proof that you can do hard things. Decide that today you're going to show up for yourself. Not perfectly, not without fear, but with courage. Because courage creates action. And action builds confidence. Confidence is not a feeling, it's a skill. And this is where so many people get stuck. You've been taught to believe that self-confidence is some sort of magical state of mind, that one day you're going to wake up, look in the mirror, and feel unstoppable. You think confidence is about how you feel in the moment, that if you don't feel sure of yourself, you must not be confident enough. But let me tell you something. Confidence has nothing to do with how you feel. It has everything to do with what you do. Think about this for a second. Every single person you admire, every leader, every entrepreneur, every athlete, they weren't born confident. They didn't sit around waiting for a lightning bolt of confidence to hit them before they started. They built it. They built it like you build a muscle, step by step, action by action, mistake by mistake. That's why confidence is not a personality trait. It's not reserved for the loudest person in the room or the one who never hesitates. It's a practice, and you can learn it the same way you'd learn to play an instrument or run a marathon. The problem is, you've been tricked into thinking that confidence is a prerequisite. That before you go for the job, before you speak up, before you launch that business, before you step on stage, you have to feel confident. And so you wait. You wait for the nerves to go away. You wait until you feel ready. You wait until you think you're good enough. And that wait, that's the biggest lie you're telling yourself. Because the truth is, you don't feel confident before you act. You feel confident after you act. The feeling of confidence is simply the byproduct of proving to yourself through action that you can handle it. Let me give you an example. Remember the first time you learned to drive. You didn't get behind the wheel thinking, "Oh, I've totally got this." You were probably gripping the steering wheel so tight your knuckles were white. You were anxious. Maybe you even thought, "There's no way I can do this." But you did it anyway. You made mistakes. You stalled. You probably got honked at. But with every repetition, with every mile, you got better. And eventually, you didn't even have to think about it. You became confident. Why? Because you practiced the skill until it became automatic. That's what confidence is. It's not a state of mind. It's the repetition of action that teaches your brain, "I can do this. I can trust myself." And the more you take action, the more evidence you collect. That evidence becomes your confidence. That evidence builds your self-trust. And that self-trust is the foundation for everything else in your life. The moment you understand this, everything changes. You stop waiting for confidence to appear like magic. You stop disqualifying yourself because you don't feel ready. You realize that the only way to feel confident is to start before you feel ready. To practice the skill, not wait for the feeling. That's why the people you admire don't look fearless, because they're different from you. They look fearless because they've practiced confidence so many times that it's become second nature. So stop telling yourself you're not confident. You don't need confidence to start. You need courage to start. Confidence will come later. It will grow every time you take a step, every time you risk failure, every time you prove to yourself that you can figure it out. That's the truth. Confidence isn't something you wait for. Confidence is something you build one choice, one action, one moment at a time. Action comes before confidence. That single truth can change your life if you let it. Because here's what most people get wrong. They think confidence is some magic fuel that powers you into taking action. They think, once I feel confident, then I'll start. Once I feel ready, then I'll speak up. Once I feel certain, then I'll go for it. And that's why so many people never move forward. Because that day, the one where you wake up feeling completely confident, fearless, and ready, that day never comes. Confidence doesn't come first. Action does. You don't build confidence by waiting. You build it by doing. Every time you act, you are teaching yourself something. You're teaching your brain that you are capable. You're showing yourself that you can figure it out. And with every single action, big or small, you collect evidence. That evidence is what creates confidence. Think back to when you learned anything new. Let's take public speaking. Nobody feels confident the first time they stand up in front of a crowd. Your hands shake, your voice cracks. Your heart is racing so fast you can hear it pounding in your ears. But if you keep putting yourself in that position, if you keep standing up there and delivering that speech, little by little the fear quiets down. Not because the fear is gone, it never fully goes away, but because you've taken action enough times to prove to yourself that you can survive it. You can handle it. That proof is confidence. The mistake we all make is believing that we have to get rid of the fear before we act. That's backwards. You act while you're afraid, and the confidence follows after. You don't wait to feel good. You take action even when you feel terrible, and then you start to feel good because you did it. Action changes how you feel. Let me give you another example. Imagine you want to start a business. You've been dreaming about it for years, but you keep telling yourself you're not confident enough yet. You tell yourself you need more training, more money, more time. But the truth is, no amount of waiting will suddenly make you feel ready. You'll only feel ready after you take that first scary step, registering the business name, creating a website, talking to your first customer. That's where confidence comes from, not thinking about it, but doing it. Here's the science behind it. Your brain learns through experience. If you never take action, you never give your brain the evidence it needs to believe you can do it. But the moment you take action, whether you succeed or fail, you're building a memory bank of proof. And with enough proof, your brain stops fighting you. It starts to trust you. That trust is what we call confidence. The first step is always the hardest, because that's the step you take without confidence. That's the step where all you have is courage. But once you've taken it, you've broken the cycle of hesitation. You've created momentum. And momentum is everything. Momentum makes the next step easier, and the one after that even easier. And as those steps add up, so does your confidence. So if you're waiting to feel confident before you act, you're stuck in a trap. You're waiting for something that only comes after you move. The truth is simple: you want confidence. Take action. Start messy. Start scared. Start unprepared. But just start. Because confidence isn't built in your head. It's built through your hands, your voice, your effort, your willingness to do the thing you don't feel ready to do. Your brain works against confidence. And until you understand this, you'll keep wondering why it feels so hard to trust yourself, why you talk yourself out of opportunities, and why self-doubt seems louder than self-belief. The truth is, your brain isn't designed to make you confident. It's designed to keep you safe. And those are two very different things. Safety to your brain means sticking with the familiar, doing what you've always done, avoiding risk, avoiding embarrassment, avoiding failure. That's why the second you think about speaking up in a meeting, your brain floods you with a voice that says, "Don't. You'll sound stupid." That's why when you imagine starting something new, whether it's a business, a new career, or a new relationship, your brain immediately serves up all the reasons why it won't work. It's not because you're broken or because you lack confidence. It's because your brain is wired to resist anything uncertain, anything uncomfortable, anything that even looks like a threat. Now, here's the problem. Everything you want in life, every goal, every dream, every ounce of confidence lives outside of your comfort zone. And the moment you step toward it, your brain sounds the alarm, that voice in your head. The one that says, "You're not ready, you're not good enough, you'll fail." That's not the truth. That's your brain trying to protect you. It's like an overprotective parent that freaks out when you try to climb higher, run faster, or take a leap. And if you don't understand this, you'll mistake that protective voice for reality. You'll believe the lies. You'll stop yourself before you even begin. Let's be clear. Your brain is not out to ruin your life. It's trying to keep you alive. Thousands of years ago, fear kept us safe from predators. Hesitation kept us from doing something that could literally kill us. But today, that same wiring is holding you back from sending an email, asking for help, making a move, or stepping into the unknown. Your brain can't tell the difference between real danger and perceived discomfort. So every time you try to stretch yourself, it throws up resistance. That's why self-doubt feels automatic. That's why hesitation feels so natural. And that's why confidence feels so hard. You're fighting your own biology. But here's the good news. You can override it. When you recognize that the voice of fear is just your brain trying to protect you, you can choose not to listen. You can take action anyway. That's the key. You don't wait for the fear to go away, because it won't. You learn to move with it, to hear it, acknowledge it, and then do the thing anyway. And then do the thing anyway. The people you admire aren't fearless. They're just better at recognizing the tricks their brain plays on them. They hear the same doubts you hear. They feel the same hesitation you feel, but they don't buy into it. They understand it for what it is, a false alarm. And instead of waiting until they feel ready, they act. That's how they build confidence. Not because they don't have fear, but because they don't let fear decide. So the next time you catch yourself saying, "I'm not confident enough," stop. Ask yourself, is this really true? Or is it just my brain trying to keep me safe? Chances are it's the second one. And if you can push through that moment, if you can override your brain's protective instinct. You'll start collecting proof that you're capable. That proof becomes confidence. That's how you retrain your brain. Your brain will always try to pull you back into comfort. That's its job. But confidence is built when you step forward anyway. It's the decision to act, even when your brain is screaming at you to stop. And the more you do it, the quieter that protective voice becomes. Not because it disappears, but because you've taught your brain a new truth. That discomfort isn't danger, and that you are more than capable of handling it. Confidence grows outside your comfort zone. And this is the part nobody likes to hear, because we all love comfort. We love predictability. We love knowing what's going to happen next. That's why you watch the same shows over and over, why you order the same food at the same restaurant, why you stick to the same routines. Comfort feels safe. Comfort feels easy. But here's the harsh truth: nothing grows there. Not your skills, not your courage, and definitely not your confidence. Confidence is only born when you're willing to step into situations where you don't have all the answers, where you don't feel fully ready, and where there's a real chance you might fall flat on your face. It's in those uncomfortable moments, the ones that make your heart race, your palms sweat, and your mind start screaming excuses. That's where the magic happens. Because discomfort is proof that you're pushing your boundaries. And those boundaries, that's the fence your comfort zone has built around you. Every time you push past it, you expand that zone, you grow. Think about the first time you did something scary, like speaking up in class, going to a job interview, or approaching someone you liked. In that moment, you were terrified, but afterwards, what happened? You felt stronger. You felt proud. You felt like, hey, maybe I can do this again. That right there, that little boost you felt, that's confidence beginning to grow. And it didn't come from staying silent, staying safe, or staying in your head. It came from taking the risk, stepping out of your comfort zone, and proving to yourself that you could survive the discomfort. Here's the part people miss: confidence doesn't mean you won't feel fear. Confidence means you've trained yourself to act even when the fear is there. You're not trying to eliminate discomfort. You're trying to expand your tolerance for it. Because the more you expose yourself to uncomfortable situations, the more resilient you become. What once terrified you eventually becomes normal. That's growth. That's confidence. Let me put it this way. Your comfort zone is like a small bubble. If you never step outside of it, your life stays small. Your opportunities stay small. And your confidence stays small. But the second you take one step outside that bubble, it stretches. It gets bigger. Suddenly, what was once scary starts to feel manageable. And every time you repeat that process, your bubble grows larger and larger until you're doing things you once thought were impossible. That's why the most confident people you know aren't the ones who avoid discomfort. They're the ones who chase it. They've made a habit of stepping outside their comfort zone on purpose because they know that's where growth lives. You don't have to take giant leaps either. Start small. Say hello to a stranger. Share your opinion when you'd normally stay quiet. Volunteer for a project you don't feel ready for. Those tiny steps matter. Each one stretches your comfort zone just a little further. And before you know it, what once felt terrifying feels natural. That's how confidence compounds. Your comfort zone is not your friend. It's a cage. It keeps you small. And the only way out is through discomfort. The good news is every time you step into discomfort, you're teaching yourself something powerful. I can handle this. That belief is what confidence is made of, not perfection, not fearlessness. Just the repeated experience of stepping outside of what's comfortable and proving to yourself that you can survive it. And more than that, you can thrive in it. Confidence is self-trust. That's it. Strip away all the noise, all the overcomplicated advice. And that's what it comes down to. Confidence is not about being the loudest person in the room. It's not about faking it until you make it. and it's not about having all the answers. Real confidence is the deep belief that no matter what happens, you can rely on yourself to figure it out. It's self-trust in action. Most people think confidence means certainty. They think confident people walk around knowing exactly what they're doing all the time. Wrong. Confident people walk into the same unknowns you do, but they have built the trust in themselves to handle whatever shows up. They don't need to know every step of the path because they trust that they'll figure out the next one as they go. That's why they move faster, speak up more often, and take risks that others avoid. It's not because they're fearless. It's because they've built an unshakable trust with themselves. So let me ask you, do you trust yourself? When you make a promise to yourself, I'm going to start exercising, I'm going to speak up in that meeting, I'm going to work on my goals. Do you actually follow through? Or do you talk yourself out of it, make excuses, and let yourself off the hook? Because here's the thing, every time you break a promise to yourself, you chip away at your own confidence. You send yourself the message that you can't be trusted. And when you can't trust yourself, how can you ever feel confident? The opposite is also true. Every time you keep a small promise to yourself, getting up when the alarm goes off, finishing the project you said you'd finish, taking that one step forward, even when you don't feel ready, you're building evidence. You're showing yourself, I can rely on me. And that evidence compounds. That's why confident people walk tall and speak with conviction. It's not because life has been easier for them. It's because they've built a library of proof that they can trust themselves to follow through. Think about it like a friendship. If you had a friend who constantly promised to show up for you but never did, would you trust them? No. You'd stop relying on them. You'd stop believing them. That's exactly what happens inside your own mind when you don't keep commitments to yourself. But when a friend shows up again and again, keeps their word, and proves that they've got your back, you trust them. You lean on them. You believe in them. That's the relationship you need to build with yourself. And here's the best part. It doesn't take huge, dramatic actions to create self-trust. It's built in the small, everyday decisions. The tiny moments where you choose discipline over excuses. The moments when you decide to show up, even if nobody else is watching. That's where self-trust is born. And once you have self-trust, you have confidence. Because now you know, no matter what comes, no matter how scary or uncertain, you will figure it out. You'll show up. You'll handle it. Confidence is not the absence of doubt. It's the